Well, welcome back to the Buc N Sports show here on 89.5. I'm actually just here on Buc TV and Facebook Live and YouTube now for the Overtime Podcast, no longer on 89.5 The Edge for the rest of the night. We'll here with you for about 15 minutes here. But to give you an update on what happened in Boone, North Carolina, now with the East Tennessee State women's basketball team, they were able to pull out the win 70-57 over the Mountaineers, led by Tiana Tarter with 22 points coming off the game Sunday where she missed a lot of time after she broke her nose against Tennessee. So good job to them. What do you think, Leon?
Oh, man, Tiana Tarter is something else. Mm-hmm. She is something else. She's a great player. And just ETSU came out to play. They came out to play, especially after that interview that Coach Ezell did. You know, they're coming for blood, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Yep. What do you think, Brandon?
They're playing really well. We'll see where it goes. It's still early in the season. They played well against Cincinnati. Big loss to Tennessee, but bounce back. We'll see what they do against Tennessee Tech on Friday night.
38 points.
38 points.
Wow. All right. Let's move back into some college football. That's what we're going to base this podcast on here, some college football. We weren't able to get into much about the Heismanology that came out this week by ESPN. Their new top 5 for the Heisman candidates. Number 1, Baker Mayfield, quarterback from Oklahoma. Number 2, Bryce Love, running back, Stanford. Number 3, a guy not many people know about, Khalil Tate, quarterback, Arizona. Number 4 is the reigning Heisman Trophy champion, Lamar Jackson, QB at Louisville. Numbers are better this year, team's not. And number 5 is Jonathan Taylor, the running back from Wisconsin. Brandon, what's your thoughts? No more Saquon Barkley in the top 5.
No more Saquon. He was my pick. I was all in on Saquon, but now I think after the performance against TCU, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns by Baker Mayfield, I'm jumping on the bandwagon.
All right.
I'm jumping on the Boomer Sooner all the way. I think he'll win the Heisman.
Boomer Sooner.
I
put 2 weeks of pick the locks on the Boomer Sooners, and they came through good for me.
You did.
What's your thoughts, Leon?
I believe quarterbacks are made to win the Heisman, not going to lie.
I agree
with you.
But
Baker Mayfield, day in and day out, he can play. Oh, man, especially after that performance against TCU. The man showed that he could lead his team to anywhere, and also, like, they're back in the top 4. And so definitely Baker Mayfield may get it. I feel like actually I think he should get it.
Yeah.
I think he should get the Heisman.
So many good quarterbacks come out of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right. Now, honestly, against the rest, yes, Baker Mayfield is the most qualified.
Yeah. I've never gotten my preseason pick for the Heisman right. I had Baker Mayfield coming in, so I'm pulling for him. I want to be right.
All in.
I want to be right for
all
once,
in all
folks.
Year.
I want to be right
all
for
year.
once. I've been all in on number 6, Magic Mayfield, as Gus Johnson calls him. Mm-hmm. I really like him. I think he's the best player in college football. I don't think it's close, and his draft stock's rising. He came into the year as probably a late second, early third round pick. Now it looks like he's going to be a first round pick, and there are people saying he should be the number 1 quarterback taken over Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, Mason Rudolph. Bunch of guys who are above him. He's hopped over them all, and for a lot of people, I think Baker Mayfield's a special guy. But, Leon, you said something about the quarterbacks always winning the Heisman Trophy. It's an offensive award. It's a QB award. But is there anybody else who should win it over Baker Mayfield this year? There's always been, like last year, it went to Lamar Jackson, and people thought, well, maybe it should have went to Deshaun Watson. I thought so.
I agree.
But a couple years ago, who won over Christian McCaffrey? Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry.
Some people thought, well, Pacific Northwest, nobody watches Christian McCaffrey. And so.
Well, it comes down to who is the most exciting to watch.
Yeah.
That is going to that's the person who will win Heisman. Deshaun Watson, he was a heck of a player. But honestly, Lamar Jackson was the most entertaining.
The most electric, yeah.
That man, it was Houdini, like getting in and out of tackles, how fast he was running, and especially his vision is amazing. Especially like his talent has brought him back to the Heisman race before. But also, you also got to prove that you can win with your team and everything. And especially, I'd blame Lamar Jackson's defense this year. And this year with Baker Mayfield, honestly, nobody else is playing better, or nobody else is more electrifying than Baker Mayfield. Maybe Khalil Tate to a certain extent. But let's be honest here. I get the Denard Robinson shoelace.
Ooh,
I get
shoelace.
I get that feeling from him because I feel like he's a running back just with an arm. That man is crazy fast. I feel like most of his touchdowns are runs, but like a good number of his runs are like more than 30 yards. I'll tell you that much. That man, heck of an athlete, but nobody's more exciting to watch than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, new poll on our Twitter account now, guys. Buc N Sports, at Buc N Sports, BUCN Sports. Baker Mayfield, should he win the Heisman Trophy? That's the question, I believe. So that's the one we just put up there. Go up there and vote and give us your thoughts. Should it be Baker Mayfield? Should it be Bryce Love, Khalil Tate? But you were just talking about Lamar Jackson. His numbers are better this year. but his team is just went
team is
down
just
here.
awful.
They're 6-4. Their offensive line was bad last year, and they're bad. They're even worse this year. I really feel bad for him because I think this is a guy who had a chance to be the first one since Archie Griffin to win back-to-back. I think he's been that good.
Brandon. I know. I agree with you, and you brought up his offensive line. Leon brought up his defense. As me and Leon talked about earlier, we think we may be able to go out there and block better than that offensive line at Louisville. It's just
put me in,
atrocious.
coach.
Yeah, put me in.
We got 5 guys right here. We got us 3. We got Brad and Indiana, our camera, and 4 managers. We could go out there and we could win the ACC with Lamar Jackson.
Let's do it. Let's just go up to Louisville. Do it.
Go.
Let's do it. But it's just that whole team is just playing bad. Outside of Lamar Jackson, I mean, I don't know how he's doing it. I don't know how he's putting up those numbers with the team he's got, but he's on point right now.
Yeah. Let's move away from the Heisman Trophy. Let's preview a game this week. I think Leon had to pick it in our pick 6. It's the best game by far of the weekend, the only top 25 matchup. This is the week for the SEC to go play the SoCon teams.
Yeah.
Auburn's taking on Mercer. I think Clemson in the ACC's taking on the Citadel. God bless you.
Alabama plays Mercer.
It's Alabama Mercer.
Yeah,
Auburn's
Alabama.
already played.
Yeah.
Clemson's taking on the Citadel. Just SoCon week's going to go get some SoCon teams going to get nice paychecks. But let's just talk about that game, Leon. I think you picked Michigan, right?
Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts there about the Wolverines? You like them? They're now back in the top 25. You think Jim Harbaugh can mess everything up for the Big Ten? Because if Wisconsin loses, Brandon doesn't think Ohio State deserves to be in. This could be he could break a conference here if Michigan messes everything up.
Oh, yes, sir. Most definitely. I feel like Michigan will challenge Wisconsin. I feel like Wisconsin really hasn't played anybody before Michigan. And so especially Wisconsin coming in undefeated. And honestly, sometimes when you're undefeated, you get comfortable. And when you're comfortable, you get the big head. And so with that being said, their running back, heck of a player. Jonathan Taylor, he knows how to run the ball. But when it comes to getting comfortable and everything, there's a possibility of an upset. And I feel like Michigan has the charisma, has the potential, and also just they're that lucky to win, honestly. Harbaugh has always, proved me wrong, and so I feel like I'm going to be Team Harbaugh this time.
Yeah. I've been sort of anti-Harbaugh over the past couple of years on the Buc N Sports show, Brandon. I think he's got it to a point. He's never won his conference. He's
never won the big
college.
games.
He's never beat his rival, Ohio State, or when he was at Stanford, he never beat Oregon, really, when it was a big game there against Chip Kelly. Do you think Michigan and Jim Harbaugh mess up Wisconsin's perfect season this week?
Nope, I don't think they do.
I
don't think Wisconsin's comfortable. I think they still have something to prove because they haven't played any tough competition really up until this point. So they're still looking to prove themselves. They think they should probably be in that top 4. But Clemson with the one loss, being in there above them.
Sure.
But I think they'll come out firing like they have something to prove. Top 25 team. They'll get a good win for the season, and Jonathan Taylor will run all over them.
Yeah, their athletic director and legendary former head coach there, Barry Alvarez, came out last week. He used to be part of the playoff committee and said he doesn't believe there should ever be a time where an undefeated conference champion doesn't get into the playoff. Well, it looks like that probably if Wisconsin wins out and Clemson and Miami play each other, Wisconsin's going to get in. If they go 13 and they'll win the Big Ten at this point, thanks to some help from this past weekend. But Wisconsin, I don't love their schedule. They remind me of Iowa a couple years ago, who was undefeated going into the Big Ten title game and lost a nail-biter to Michigan State, who ended up getting killed by Alabama. And then Iowa went to the Rose Bowl and got ran over by Christian McCaffrey and Stanford.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're about that team. I do like Jonathan Taylor. I like their quarterback, Alex Hornibrook. I like what Paul Chryst is doing there as a head coach. I just don't buy into Wisconsin at all. I said that last week. But I think they pull this one out just by the skin of their teeth. I don't think Michigan's offense is where it needs to be yet under Jim Harbaugh, and he's in his 3rd season and still has not been where it's at. I think he has one of those feelings where he can just win with any quarterback, and he's finally figuring out, oh, wait, I can't. I need Andrew Luck at Stanford to win. So I think that's where Jim Harbaugh's at with this, but I'm going to take Wisconsin just barely at home. College game day will be there this Saturday. So the only real big game in college football. He had a great week this past week where he could have sat at home all day long and just turned on a few TVs, maybe pulled out a laptop and an iPad and had a great weekend. But this week,
not so
go
much.
make some
Not
plans.
so
Yeah.
much.
Go make some plans. Go make some plans. Have a nice day. Enjoy the fall weather out here in East Tennessee. We had some fun with the Tennessee job earlier, Brandon.
Yeah, we did.
Who was the coach, fictional coach out of the movies?
Coach Klein, CLSU Mud Dogs.
There you go. I had Eric Taylor out of Friday Night Lights TV show.
Now, Coach
Leon had Herman Boone.
not the real Herman Boone. Denzel Washington Herman Boone.
Denzel Washington portraying Herman Boone. But
Boonzel. We're going to call him Coach Boonzel.
Yeah. In the serious part, we all thought Mike Norvell's the guy. Is going to end up being the guy. Give me some other names to watch out for. Fielder Dennis, our old host of the show, tweeted us in. He said Chip Kelly. Also gave us a ... Mac Brown. Rick Neuheisel threw that out earlier this week. Oh, they say now Mac Brown was his fictional coach, but hey, who knows? Maybe 66 years old. You never know. He's from Cookeville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Fun fact. So give me some real options here for Tennessee fans.
Chip Kelly is he's an option, but I don't think he'll leave.
I think he's a better fit for Florida.
Better fit for Florida. I can agree with that. I think I don't think he'll come to Tennessee though. Yeah. I don't know that even Tennessee fans want him. He's proven in college, but that's at Oregon. So I mean I don't know. And then another one would be what's the coach from UCF Central Florida?
Scott Frost.
Scott Frost. Yeah, I think he may go. He probably will go somewhere else, but he could come to Knoxville.
Yeah.
And I think with what he's done in Central Florida, he could turn the Vols around.
Yeah.
So.
On those two coaches, start off with Chip Kelly there. Think about Chip is he had NCAA trouble at the end there for Oregon. Tennessee doesn't want to go through all that. They just had that in basketball with Donnie Tyndall. They had that in football with Lane Kiffin for that 1 year where it was a good thing he left early or we were going to go under bowl probation. I think that's something they want to stay away from. And also, Chip's a Pacific guy. He likes the West Coast.
He's got that West Coast offense.
I think if the UCLA job opens, that's an interesting one for Chip if they fire Jim Mora. On Scott Frost, he really likes Orlando, I think. And I think the only way he's leaving is for Florida. If Florida offers him the job, he may leave for Florida, but that's it. How about you, Leon? Any some real options here for Tennessee?
Honestly, Scott Frost, no doubt. And especially I feel like with Chip Kelly, he loves the West Coast offense. And then with the NCAA troubles, Tennessee wouldn't want to risk that. Now, when it comes to – I feel like Florida may want to get Chip Kelly and everything. And I feel like if Chip Kelly goes to Florida, Frost is at UT.
Ooh,
yes.
You think he does accept? Okay.
Yes, and I feel like he does accept at UT. So.
Yeah, and one final caveat there on the Scott Frost situation. He played quarterback, won the national title at Nebraska. It looks like the Nebraska job's going to come open. It looks like they're going to fire Mike Riley after 3 seasons. But from everything I've read on Scott Frost, he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't think that's a good situation. The recruiting is terrible in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Look at a map, that will tell you that the recruiting is terrible in Nebraska. But I think that's one thing about that. I just don't know about Scott Frost. I think the American Athletic Conference, that whole conference with Central Florida, with Memphis. And how about SMU? Chad Morris, the head coach at SMU. I made a bet with a buddy last night. I said, I'll take 5 coaches. I'll give you the field. I'll give you every human in humanity. If Tennessee hires Oprah Winfrey as the next head coach, I have to buy him pals. The 5 coaches I took: Mike Norvell, Memphis; Chad Morris, SMU; Matt Campbell at Iowa State; Greg Schiano, the defensive coordinator of Ohio State, former Rutgers head coach and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I also took Jimbo Fisher, head coach at Florida State. If any of those 5 take the Tennessee job, I get free pals. If anybody else does, pals on me for my buddies. So
I can agree with all those except Jimbo Fisher. I don't think he's leaving the
Seminoles. Here's the thing about Jimbo. Let me just touch on Jimbo here before we have to head out. A tough year in Tallahassee. 3-6.
It has been a tough year.
His buyout is a little high. He's yelling at fans. He was getting into it with a fan a couple weeks ago after the I think it was the North Carolina State game, maybe in the Louisville game. Also, he almost left for LSU last year, decided not to. He's getting into it with athletic directors, with boosters. I think his time's wearing thin in Tallahassee, and I love me some Jimbo Fisher.
I agree, but I still don't think he'll go to Tennessee.
I don't see him leaving Tallahassee just yet. Maybe next year or the year after that. Maybe
now, we offered him the job about 5 years ago, 2012. We offered him the job. He declined. He declined. From rumors, we offered him the job. That's we love rumors in Tennessee. If you haven't heard. Just before we let go, let's just throw it out there. Tennessee fans want it really quickly. We got about 30 seconds. John Gruden, yay or really yay? He's coming to Tennessee.
Neither. Nay.
Give it up.
Nay.
Give it up.
Give it up.
This is all a facade.
100 or 115% definite.
This is all a facade.
It's not going to happen.
All right.
Not going to happen.
We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. We don't have a show next week. Hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving with your families. And by maybe the next time we see you, John Gruden will be the next head coach at Tennessee. So we'll see. See you next time. Leon, Brandon, Jacob.